star that lights the road. I take this ride. Just drive. I wanna be the only one to make it to the light. I take it to the edge where I've lived 1,000 lives. Maybe I could be the one. I'll ride to the setting sun tonight. Just drive.
Welcome to the last round of the season. Theory Headley on pole position, Lampham alongside him, Chris Cornwell in P3 for Nias Crumpley and Dominic Benedetto. Versio lines up 6th from Carlos Eduardo, UK Ball and Davy Sekiera. And after that we have Matthew Hart, Alan Beck, Hooks Finucci, Zeno Rob Roy, Spike CB, Ahmed Silla, Nicholas Palomino, Ultravo, Lady Dragon Sonic, Mr. Bob, and Ravo. Here we go, the last round of the season. We have a 7-way title fight as the 5 red lights go out. We go underway, so as mentioned before, 7 drivers in contention for the World Championship. And we have 4 teams in contention for the Constructors. Me personally, even though it's less drivers for the World Championship, I would happily say and easily say that this is a bigger fight than what we had last season. Last season only had 10 hype cars. We're back to the usual 20 on this grid, which means having 7 of them in contention is actually just crazy, because there's more and more places for the drivers to vary compared to the split grid, which couldn't have much variation with 10 drivers per team. 10 drivers per category, whether that be hype car or LMB2. But anyways, the drivers behind the safety car now, they'll be awaiting the end of the lap, where the drivers will be able to pull away and start the finale. Cornwell in really good position for this championship right now, actually. Up in 3rd position. If he can get a good race, and just hope Serkiera and some of the others in the title fight fall back a little bit, Cornwell could be on for a first championship in debut season for WEC. But we'll just have to see how things go on as we've headed through turn 10 already. Driver's just right behind that safety car. Headley is the one who's going to lead us away. He's already a good driver. I'm sure he's the driver with the most wins in the WEC, if I recall correctly, around 3 wins, I think. I'm sure he's the only triple winner in this series, yet he doesn't have a World Championship, I don't think. I can't remember who won 2020 though. It could have been him, but I'm not sure. But anyways, only got a couple more corners to go now. Headley, leader of this race. However, the Ferrari Corsa team have had an awful debut season. P17 and P20 in this race right now. Well, they're already last in the championship and stands looking to finish last. But anyways, strategy is going to be very similar. We've got 17 drivers on the softs, 3 on the mediums, and the highest on the medium is Chris Cornwell, up in 3rd position. Will his medium gamble pay off? Well, we're going to see, because we're going to go to lights out, and we are underway. The last race of the season has now begun. The 35% of Bahrain is now started. Lau Lamphong in turn 1. He's going to maintain position as well as many other drivers. Pressure in the championship though, especially for like Matthew Hart down 10th position. He's only around 3.5 points, I think. Or 3.8, I can't remember, but he's less than 4 points away from his championship rival of D. Serkiera in the standings. Serkiera in 9th position would have been looking to take the championship win this race, but Cornwell up in 3rd will completely trade that, and I think he's going to win this championship as it stands. Yeah, Cornwell's got to just try and stay within the top 2 for as long as possible, and that's not even going to last 1 lap. He's already struggling. He can't catch the free race of Lamphong, or the Porsche Penske of Thierry Henley. Those two, off to an incredible start. Lam Fong, one of the most successful drivers in the WEC series as well, also the most experienced. To add on to that, he's obviously doing well, but he's yet to get a win this season. Could today be his day to finally get the win he's been waiting for? Well, as we head down the straight, Niles Crumbly in the other freedom racing will take third position. Lam Fong and Niles Crumbly now running a 2-3 for freedom. On the inside, Corwell desperately get the place. Oh, there's contact! Chris Corwell's been spun round. The man down's got a 5-second time penalty, and Corwell got damage. That is going to absolutely dash his championship hopes. As Crumbly set on the inside, but it was clear he did not want Corwell alongside him. He just straight up forced him into the barrier, which is an interesting move to make. You can't really do that. But after that, Thierry Henley and Lam Fong now dominating this race because of the massive gap created due to the incident. The closest driver now is Crumbly is 7.5 seconds behind. He's also got damage. Versus Theo in the Monster Energy Power Motorsport, it's going to close in now. Right on the back of Chris Corwell's going to have to try and make that move. He's going to go for the room. He's going to go for the move. He's got the room on the outside. Through turn 12 and turn 13. He's trying his best, but he can't get the move done yet. He's going to have to wait for the outside. He's finally got the place on Corwell. And will have to soon go for a move on Crumbly, who's got damage. Unless he comes in the pits, but look at that line. You don't think he's coming in. No, he's not. Same with Corwell. He's also staying out. First, Theo has that DRS open. Coming down straight, he's going to have to send it in turn 1. Similarly to how Crumbly did that on the previous lap. And there we go this time. First, Theo, and then to move off the track. Out of the race. Goes Chris Corwell. And that is very bad for him. His championship hopes are over. UK Ball involved in that incident as well. Oh geez, fate really was not on his side today, and the hopes of Force Racing also start to crumble. They've lost a driver in this race, and that means one less driver who can help them get the constructors. Virtual safety car coming to an end. I don't know what's happened to Thierry Henley, but he's ended up losing the lead of this race to Fong, and Fong's had an awful restart, which now means that Lam Fong is at risk of losing first place, and down the inside, Thierry Henley in a first, ahead of Fong. Still free racing 2-3, but that's not lasting long. Versio Power Motorsport moves up into third place. Carlson Varno on his, well, not his debut racing WEC, but debut for Ford Proton Hypercar. He's doing really well. He's ahead of his teammate, who's gunning for the World Championship. But are the team orders to keep the drivers in this position at Ford? Because think about it, Eduardo has some softs to use up, which he's pretty much used up. Henley's came in the pits. I'm not surprised. Fong and Henley have almost got a 1-2 secured. All they do is just not mess up on the strategy. Hard tyres on for Henley is probably the safest option to go to for your second stint. Other drivers are playing careful. No, other drivers are pushing it, I meant. Such as the one who just went on a soft there, Niles Crumbly. Then Rob Roy's on a hard. Ravo and UK Ball both coming in the pits. And UK Ball's onto hards. Ravo coming out on softs. Now Fog's have to drive this lap alone. There's going to be no DRS off of anyone. He's just crawling around this track now. But hopefully for Freedom Racing, this isn't the end of everything for them. Lap 5 out of 19. And yeah, obviously people on the softs are going to start coming to pits over the next couple laps. Of course, we've already had a whole bunch of drivers already dive straight into the pit lane. As Theo on the inside of Davy Cerchiera, and he's going to get ahead of the championship leader. Davy Cerchiera in third place, with Matthew Hart not far behind. His chances of this championship have now been reignited. He is now on the back of Davy Cerchiera, and he's got to do all he can. He's the sole driver scoring points for Force Racing, and Cerchiera let him by without any issues. I don't know why he's done that. I don't know why he didn't try to defend that, because that could be a massive mistake in the end of the day. Alan back on the inside of Spike CB, getting that place done. And Spike CB dropping to 5th position, heading now 14 seconds off the Lanfong lead, who is trying to extend his strategy for as long as possible. The Freedom Racing is doing alright out in front. Matthew Hart doing well in 2nd place. Dave Sarkera right behind in 3rd. Well, he'll be trying to get ahead of the Force Racing once more. It's going to be a difficult thing to do that though, as he's got the DRS activated. He is closing up on the Force Racing. And can he go for the move? No, he can't. Dave Sarkera stays down in 3rd. Meanwhile, Headley continues to make ground up in this race on his rivals, and more crucially Lanfong, as he aims to get a first win of the season for Porsche Penske. And here we go, heading in towards the last couple of corners. Headley is going to get ahead of Hooks Vanucci. Stock car Braga drivers not going to fight that one, even though they are in contention for the Constructors' Championship. Drivers are slowing each other down non-stop here down the pit straight. DRS activated for both Vanucci and Headley. Vanucci's found some room on the inside, and he's going to go for a move to lead the race possibly. He's going to have to send it if he wants to do it, and he doesn't do it. Headley now up in a 1st position, leading the race as Lanfong is overtaken by even his teammate, who was miles behind before. So it's been a good stint so far for Niles Crumpley, but he's not going to hold that place for longer, as Fong has already got DRS, and he is closing in the gap to his teammate. Eduardo in a solid 5th position ahead of Verstio, which is really good for him, because Verstio is on hards and Eduardo's on mediums. And considering they have the same tyre life, Eduardo definitely wants to get away from Verstio, make use of his quick and compound while he can, and more crucially not let DRS be given to Verstio. We'll have to see what happens, though. I think Verstio has got it. We'll look at the rear wing, and yep, it has opened, which is going to be bad news for Ford Proton Hypercar, as Power Motorsport will begin to possibly get more points from that. Yes, it could have saved him possibly from Zeno Rob Roy, who also had DRS. As Rob Roy inching closer and closer despite the more worn tyres. As you can see, he's closing in on Power Motorsport areas. Lap 8 begins. Thierry Headley leading the way. Hooks Vanucci's into the pits, as his tyres were dead. So dead, in fact, they're on 6%. 6% is mad. He's completed 7 laps on the tyre, which shows the absolute limit of the soft tyre. Which will be some good data for teams. However, Vanucci down in 18th, and for Stock Car Braga, this is disastrous. I'm sure they need a 1-2 no matter what. I'm sure that's how it's working. A 1-2 no matter what is needed for the Stock Car Braga team. But yeah, anyways, out in front, of course, Headley leading, Fong getting ahead of his teammate Crumpley, which I've just noticed right there. Eduardo in 4th position, running well, but Verstio's going to get the move, which is exactly the opposite of what Eduardo wanted, because he's on the quick compound and he's struggling. Which was, it does make sense that he is struggling, considering he is in his first race back in WEC after some time out. Like, quite some time out, in fact. He's been out for quite a while now. Whereas Eduardo's going to have to send it on the inside here, isn't he? Yes, he is. He's going to have to send it. He can't get Verstio, but into the pits comes Niles Crumpley after completing 4 laps on his tyre. The Freedom Racing pit crew going to put him on some fresh tyres, and it's soft on for him, as he's going to gun down to the pit exit. More and more drivers passing by. Could Benedetto even get ahead of him? Well, we'll have to see. As around the final corner, Benedetto is going to storm down this pit straight, and he's going to have to hope he's ahead of Crumpley, but he's not. Crumpley will stay out ahead of Benedetto, which is one less person for Crumpley to get past. As now, Thierry Headley, he's not going to be that quick. Lanfong in the free racing is on a quicker compound. He could try and make use of that, which he is at the moment, to get ahead of Headley. It's going to be a bit of an issue though, because his tyres are wearing out now. But also, the Sorry, I apologize for that. Also, the clouds appear to be getting a little bit darker compared to before. It's most certainly not an evening race or anything, so could this be a rare moment of rain in Bahrain? Like, it is extremely rare, but it can happen. As into the pits comes Alan Beck and Ahmed Silla, both in. Then we go on to a fresh set of brand new tyres. Beck in for medium. Silla is going to be in for the soft, and Ravo, as he's in the pits as well, is on for medium. So here we go, they're going to leave the pit lane now. Obviously down dead last, we're in the final 10 laps of this race. So we aren't even halfway through technically. Sorry about that. So just on some stuff out, technical difficulties. Anyways, Lanfong, please close the gap down to Headley quite some bit. Headley's going to start to feel the pressure. However, he does know Lanfong's tyres are wearing out. He also knows the absolute limit is 7 laps. With that knowledge, can Headley have a good, calm composure? Well, he's going to have one, because Lanfong into the pits already, as the pit crew only just managed to get out in time. And there we go. Lanfong moving on to soft tyres. That's soft. He's going to have to do another stop in this race, because the softs can't do the 9 laps that are required to run this race. Is this a possible strategy blunder by Freedom Racing, or have they got a smart strategy? Well, we'll have to see how it turns out. 9 more laps to go. We'll find out at the end of those 9 laps whether the strategy was good or not. Assuming he stays in this race, because DNF can ruin things. It can ruin how a strategy is viewed. As in Watto, he's behind Verstio. His medium stint has not worked out for him at all. Verstio has managed to overtake him on the slower compound. And it does really show though. Eduardo has not got the WEC experience. He's got years in WEC, but the time away has really impacted his skill level. And Matthew Hart now to go around the outside of Carlos Eduardo to try and go for third. Incredible switchback move for the Scotsman as he moves up there into third place, and is going to have to try and retake the place because Eduardo is back up into third once more. Medias gets a 5-second penalty for causing a collision. That's down the straight with Mr. Bob there. Gonna have to send it back into turn 14. On the inside line, Lanfong with a penalty. That's very big there, as he may end up losing this World Championship lead. And for him, he's going to be getting past many drivers. He's up in the 5th place now, as he continues to close the gap down to Thierry Headley, whose tyres are wearing out. Now, remember, rain is still a possibility somehow. I don't know how we managed to get the dark clouds like this, but yeah, of course, that can bring concerns on the teams. However, I think most of them are going to think it's alright because, yeah. But yeah, it's self-explanatory, really. Rain in Bahrain is extremely rare. The teams will just be hoping that it's not one of those days. They'll be hoping it's not one of those rare days. And sorry about my voice, it's just a little bit weird right now. I'm just going to go on to the recommended camera angle. Lanfong on the inside to get Spiker CB. He's now up in a 4th position in his next goal. Davey Sekiera in 3rd. He's going to have to go for that move shortly, isn't he? Because he's got a 5-second penalty to make up, and that is also going to be one of them strategy ruiners. As Rob Roy getting ahead of Alan Beck. Oh, wheel to wheel, 3 abreast there. Down the straight towards turn 14. This may not end well, in fact. As on the inside, I don't know who's going to come out where. More drivers in the pits. David Sarkar is in for softs, which could make the end of the race. However, it's going to be a bit like what happened to Alan Beck earlier. There'll be around 6% left on the tyres. As bad out is going to come in as well as he moves on to softs additionally. So there's many drivers going for softs right now. There's also ones going for mediums, which I'd say is a much safer option compared to the softs. And yeah, the softs have a big risk of puncturing. Like, without a doubt, they have a high risk of puncturing because, 6% is most certainly not safe territory. That's like really risky territory, that, in fact. So yeah, we're going to be heading in towards the final 6 laps of this race. As Sergio is just going to be hoping things go his way, really. Of course, he's got the championship in Formula 1. He's going to be going for the one in WEC to make it a double championship season for him. Matthew Hart running in 11th place. He's ahead of his championship rival. However, as it stands, they're going to be scoring the same amount of points, which is 0.8. There will be no difference in the points at the moment. Matthew Hart now up in a 10th. That's going to gain him some more positions and points. That's going to gain him some more points, but it's just not enough points it's going to gain him. He needs to be higher than this. As you're just watching these drivers down the inside, Dave Sergio. Ooh, jeez, you can see he's really aggressive today as he moves up now into 12th position to get ahead of Ultramaro, his F1 championship rival. However, this time in WEC, Ultramaro is down in last place in the championship. Of course, it's been a bad season for him. Dave Sergio doing alright this race as Headley moves ahead of Bob and Eduardo, who takes 6th position. Lamfong, leader of this race. Things are going well for him right now. Unfortunately, that penalty is there. It's going to be a race ruiner. But he's into the pits anyways. Let's see how things play out for him, as there's more tyres waiting for him. I personally, if I was free racing, would have gave it 1 or 2 more laps before putting him in. But obviously, I see what they're doing in a way, as Ahmed Silla failing to hold up Lamfong there, which is going to be a bit disappointing for Porsche, as they would have sensed an opportunity to hold up Lamfong a little bit, but they couldn't do that as Revo now into the pit lane, and it's going to be mediums for him, and they come out and sing Mr. Bob there, impacted by this. Gentry Racing Team, one of the teams that are in contention for the constructors. Well, that's not going to be good there, as Mr. Bob now down 18th place, but for the lead, Rob Roy and CB are out in front, separated by less than a second. Eduardo also in this fight as well. As Stevie Hadley there, the net race leader, moving up in a 3rd. He's going to take 2nd easily down the straight. 1st is a possibility too, but oh no, he's fell back. Stevie Hadley has fell back, but he's going to have to set on the inside once more. On the inside to get 2nd place. And yep, he's the net race leader, but I don't think he's going to need anyone to pit because he's going to go for the move already into turn 13, and that is him up into the lead where he should have been the whole time. Looks Fanucci now in 8th position. He's got drivers on fresher tyres completely surrounding him in David Sergio and Versio. UK all driving an alright race in P13. Lamfong overtaking Blade Drive Sonic and UK ball down the straight. Rob Roy into the pitch for the 3rd time today. Tyre wear is high on these wet cars. And there we go, Fong down the straight. He should keep 10th. There is still a possibility though UK Mall could go for a move. And the Britain has been unable to get that move. Lamfong now into the top 10 easily. And realistically, he should have been around Crumpley. Like, he should have been around ahead of Crumpley or Fanucci at the moment. That's my prediction of what would have happened without the penalty. Whereas Versio now up into 5th, fighting for 4th right now, as he gets ahead of Spike and CB, but with Hal Motorsport on the junior Hal Motorsport team, and the main team coming out on top, mainly due to a 7-lap tyre difference, but we don't talk about that. There's Fong, Palomino, Ultra heading down straight. Ultra is really slow. That Ferrari AF Corsa. Fong on the inside up into 9th position. Palomino in 8th. But I don't think Palomino can do anything here. Lam Fong is going to get an easy position here as they head down the straight. Lam Fong is in ninth, but he's going to have to go for 8th. He needs to do that. There's 3 more laps to go in this race. Matthew Hart in 2nd place is currently on track to be the World Drivers' Champion. I've just noticed that one right there. This here is massive for the Scotsman. Oh, wow, I've just noticed this one. This is actually epic. And for Force Racing, could they get the World Constructors' Championship as well? We'll have to see how things play out though. First Theo on the mediums has a chance to get ahead, but oh my god! What has gone on here? Calamity at turn 3. Drivers are the wrong way round there. Mr. Bob is the one, and no contact. Finucci hits Bob, and we're stuck watching a drain. That's absolute cinema. That we love watching drains, don't we? And Vendetto is gonna catch Mr. Bob. He's gonna end up slowing down though. Can't really overtake on the yellows. But yeah, I don't know what just went on there. Jesus. We have Disa Akira, his championship hopes have faded. Most of his rivals are ahead of him in this race. So if one bad thing happens to one of them, another one's just going to get benefited. Lap 18 begins. We have 2 more laps to go. Thierry Henley running an excellent race right now. And he's leading the way. He's led pretty much all this race. Of course, Fogg has had the lead a couple times. But Henley's always managed to get it back. And in the end of this race, it looks like it may end up going the way of Barbados. And Thierry Henley looking to become a race winner once more in the WEC series. And it will also be a 5th different winner in 5 races of this championship. It's been a great race it's been a great season from start to finish. Of course, like Le Mans, also a great race. We saw Sergio win that race. But anyways, the championship not looking to go all the way of Thierry Henley. Obviously, I don't even think he was going to fight into this race anyways. I'm not quite sure anyways. Versio in 2nd place now, moving ahead of Matthew Hart. Lam Fong is going to have an opportunity to move ahead of Matthew Hart. You have to try and make that move though into the last corner. You have to send on the inside, he does so. Thierry Henley now leading on to the last lap of this race. And here we go, on the last lap of this race. It's going to be a battle for some places. Fong was in contention for this championship, but he will be falling short unless something happens to Matthew Hart behind. He was in a high pressure situation earlier, but he's dealt with it. The Force Racing has dealt very well with it. We can't jinx anything now though because his tyre is down on 18%. That is a puncture risk. Obviously, it's not been a great season for Headley, to be honest, but at least he can end this thing on a high as he goes for a 4th win in the series. Ahmed Salah fast in the first sector. Fogg's gonna have an opportunity to get up into 2nd place to steal 2nd from Power Motorsports versus Theo. He's gonna have to go on the inside to get this move. He goes for it. Lam Fong up in a 2nd place. First Theo now down at a 3rd as he will try and fight that one back, but he's not gonna work. First Theo gonna have to send it once more. He does so. But here we go, across the line to end the race and the season. Thierry Henley for Porsche Penske will win another race in the WEC Championship. He wins the Bahrain Grand Prix. Lam Fong is going to come home P2, but he will miss out on the title in the end of it, as Niles Company just takes 4th at the line, Versio in 3rd, but Matthew Hart is going to be the world champion in his debut season. Carlson Martin is going to come home in 7th place from Malenbeek and Ahmed Silla. David Serracera will miss out on the double championship this season. Palomino is going to finish this one off at 11th, and Spiker CB finishes in 12th. As into the wall there goes Van Delt. What happened there? Oh, that's it. that'll be it for this race. But yeah, so many events went on there. Very I couldn't even keep up. Spike CV and Ultra were literally neck and neck in the line, separated by only 1 millisecond. That is like crazy, that. I'm sure it's the closest finishing gap between two drivers we've ever had in this league, including F1 as well. And that's it for the season. So it is Stephen Headley, your winner for Porsche Penske today in the last race of the season. Free of Racing's Lam Fong gets a solid P2, and Power Motorsports get their first podium of the season with a P3 in the last race with first CO. And with that as well, Matthew Hart crowned your drivers champion. As for the constructors, I actually couldn't bother to calculate that. You'll see the standings anyways. But with that, let's listen to the Barbados, the national anthem of Barbados. So it's worth for a podium with Headley following the CO. After that, we have correctly Hart, Rob Roy, Eduardo, Sella, Beck, Ultra, CBs, Chiara, BDS, Palomino, UK Ball, Ravo, Duranghetto, Fanucci, Bob, and Cornwell, who was retired from the race. With that, we're done in Bahrain and this season. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next time when the WEC returns.